All right, hey, sixth graders. I am Mr. Slaby. If you're from another class and you're wondering who's that weird-looking dude with the glasses and the bald head, that's me, Mr. Slaby. I teach only one section, and I'm very protective of my students. So those of you that are out there, hello. So here's the weird thing. Today, if you're seeing this video, most likely you are, and if this is Thursday, you are cohort B. Cohort A, you might be doing something different in class. So I'm really speaking to those of you in cohort B if this is Thursday. If this is Friday, then I am probably talking to cohort A, because I think what we're going to do is flop today. That's my understanding. So here are the directions for the work that we're going to have you work on. This is a little bit deeper and richer, and it's sort of like it's helping us understand whether you understand A, theme. So you're going to show us that you really get the idea of theme, and B, that you understand how theme plays out in the story that we read together with all the conversations and the character work you did. This is a final assessment or a summative assessment on what you learned, remembered, and applied with Seed Folks. Okay, let's get to it. So here we go. Let's do a reminder of what theme is, right? We talked about this in the last 8 weeks with The Undefeated, Only One You. We did theme with other books as well, but it's really the big idea that a piece of writing is about. So think about that. The big idea. It's got to be big enough to sort of be rolled into a whole story. So it's not usually one part of a story. It's not usually one moment of a story. It's the whole reason for the story to exist. It's almost always intended to teach or have the reader learn. So if I think about a theme, it's a message that we're supposed to understand. A theme would not be just a topic, a subject. So if you think about Undefeated, the topic is history of African Americans in the United States. That's the subject. And that's not a message, right? So a theme is something bigger. It's like, what about that subject? What is the author trying to say about African Americans in the history? And that's when we get to that idea that the theme is really about perseverance and grit and the ability to survive oppression. So there's a larger message there that African Americans have these abilities to win even against all odds because they always have been. That's a message. Lastly, a theme takes about a sentence to sum up, right? It takes some time. It can be reduced to a sentence. It's not a paragraph, but it does not usually exist in one word. And so that's what we're really talking about here, is a theme is not almost never, and I don't say never, but almost never one word. You never say the theme of The Undefeated is African Americans, right? That's a hyphenated word. You might say it's 2 words, but it's too short to really sum up. That's a topic, a subject. It's not a theme. The theme would be the theme of The Undefeated is African Americans can prove that they are they are persistent and they're determined and they cannot be put down through oppression because of look at these examples in history. All right. So that's more of a larger explanation. And then it's also never too specific. So a theme can't be about an author or even about a character. It should be about something that the reader could connect to. So you won't say that the theme of The Undefeated is that Kwame Alexander is proud of his heritage. That's true. It's obvious, but that's not a theme. That's just sort of an explanation of the author. Kwame Alexander wouldn't want you to get that message out. He would want you to think about the fact that he is proud of his heritage and he wrote this book about his heritage, but what is he trying to say? That's the message. Okay, so let's talk about Seed Folks. Look at all these characters. These are the characters, these are the names, and you should have entries in your character note sheet for every one of these. So here's where the assignment for today is. You're going to pick one of these. One character that you especially connected to. So if you remember their story best, probably the character you want to use. What I'm going to have you do is look at that chart that has all your character information, right? This is like what they planted in the garden, what was their impact on the garden. Those are all hypotheses or inferences that you made. So I want you to look at that chart, and I want you to think about this question. In your opinion, which character from Seed Folks best represents the theme of community? So the idea here is one of those characters right here represents community better than anyone else. So think of all the stuff we've talked about. The thing is, we want you to write a well-written paragraph that has what's called a topic sentence. And we've talked about this. It's the sentence that lays out the paragraph. What is the paragraph about? Your topic sentence answers that question. So I want everyone to start with this. In my opinion, blank, Kim, Nora, Gonzalo, Wendell, Leona. In my opinion, Kim is the character in Seed Folks that best represents the theme of community. Boom, topic sentence. Beautiful. Done. I know what this paragraph is about. Then I want you to do this. I want you to use at least, and I'll say 2, specific examples from the text to show how this character best shows the theme of community. So this is where you have to put put your thinking cap on, and you have to come up like, well, I'm going to choose this character, but then you better have 2 examples from the story to prove it. Explain how that example proves your point, and then you've got yourself a solid answer. So you should have at least 7 sentences for a full credit response. That's 5 points on the rubric. Now, here's where it gets interesting. You get to choose. You could write out and submit your answers, right? Write out a paragraph and submit. You actually could record the audio only of your answer and submit it to the Schoology assignment. So it's possible that you could write it out if you wanted to, which I recommend, and then speak it if you don't really want to share your writing. And then also you could do like what I'm doing, record your audio and your video and submit that as well. But the thing is, we're looking for an answer. So if you think you're a better talker and you don't prepare, you ain't going to be a better talker. If you're a better writer and you don't prepare, you're not going to be a better writer. So the thing is, make sure that you do the work. All right. Now, just so we are very clear, what's a good example? All right. Let's give a not so great. Don't do this. This is a good example of not explaining or having a good example. In my opinion, Kim is the character in Seed Folks that best represents the theme of community. Topic sentence, solid. For example, she starts the community garden. Not super specific, is it? I mean, it's generally true, but it's not very specific. It's kind of like the whole book. This means she started a community for her neighborhood. How? That isn't explaining why starting the community garden makes her the best character representing community. It's just basically kind of restates it. For example, she starts community garden. This means she started community. Not a great explanation. I want something like this. In my opinion, Kim is the character in Seed Folks that best represents the theme of community. Topic sentence, good. For example, Kim is the one who clears out a small patch of soil and starts the garden with her lima beans, honoring the spirit of her father. Okay, that's specific, right? Now we've got a whole basic, specific example of what she did and why she did it. That's awesome. Here I explain it. Every community needs a leader to start connecting people. I made a statement that I'm going to now use to prove. And Kim takes the very first step to turning an empty lot into a place where things can grow. Boom. I just explained why the first person to start the garden would qualify as the best of like the characters representing community. That's the kind of explanation. Yes, I know it's longer. It takes more work, but it's the right thing to do. And it's the only way we really share our thoughts is how you convince people. This doesn't convince anyone. This does. All right. So I can't wait to see what you do with this. Any character can represent community. You just have to make the choice, offer two specific examples, and explain those examples and how they prove what you're trying to say. All right, cool. See ya.